Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful. It's certainly been an extraordinary overnight session. Crude, widely anticipated Japanese easing was not considered enough. I think the market's expectations were beyond what he could possibly deliver. Have a look at this chart of the dollar yen. We've now touched, we're now at around 103.60, having gone below the 103 level a couple of times first thing this morning. Bond yields slid off, the yen surged, and the Nikkei fell back. Yen volatility had surged to its highest level since 2008, even before we went into this today. I'd spoken about the yen and I was bullish about it from the beginning of the year when I said it's rallied big and that it was one of my conviction trades for 2016 to buy the yen against just about everything. Have a look at this other dollar yen. I think we're still going to go to levels below 100. I don't see how Japan can possibly satisfy the expectations of the market in regard to further easing, and I think Crude is essentially admitting as much. Home thoughts went back to that photograph I took up of Hannah as I was sitting in my little patio, and I saw her playing on the veranda upstairs, and I sort of had to take my breath away because she's grown quite tall now, but I still think of her as a little girl. And I told her once, she said, "You've got to stop it." And I said to her, "Well, you're always going to be my little girl, even when you're very old. Don't limit a child to your own learning, for he was born in another time." Rabindranath Tagore. Love is the only reality, and it is not a mere sentiment. It is the ultimate truth that lies at the heart of creation. Hillary Clinton tweeted so proud. Look at the optimism, the way she's projecting herself. Then she tweeted, "Let's go win this together," another very beautiful photograph. The next president and her husband. And I put those in home thoughts because I thought it was rather warm. Yesterday I went for dinner at the Norfolk and took this photograph of the Norfolk. It's a beautiful hotel, and if you ever get a chance to go and visit, a lot of history. I was so young that first time in Boston, Obama recalled with a wry smile, maybe a little nervous addressing such a big crowd, but I was filled with faith. Faith in America, the generous, big-hearted, hopeful country that made my story, indeed all of our stories, possible. He went on, "I stand before you again tonight, after almost 2 terms as your president, to tell you I am even more optimistic about the future of America." Hillary, America's stronger because of President Obama's leadership, and I am better because of his friendship. Trump, Russia, I hope you can find Hillary Clinton's missing emails. This has not gone down well at all. Donald Trump appeared to incite Russia to hack into and publish Hillary Clinton's private emails as her campaign sounded alarm at growing evidence of a foreign power interfering in an American election. As I was driving in this morning, I was listening to BBC Newsday, which is on my way to work, and I do enjoy it. And they were talking about fact-checking Trump. And I said, tweeted back, the argument is no longer about facts, it's about emotions. And that goes back to the US Army War College Quarterly of 1997. One of the defining bifurcations of the future will be the conflict between information masters and information victims. The information warfare will not be couched in the rationale of geopolitics, the author suggests, but will be spawned, like any Hollywood drama, out of raw emotions, hatred, jealousy, greed, emotions rather than strategy will set the terms of information warfare struggles. I think that's what this is all about. And I was writing a piece that was the time of the Benghazi sacking of the embassy. What are the consequences of this new 21st century madding crowd? At that time, folks felt, that Texan preacher's burning of the Quran had incited the crowd, and subsequently, I don't think that was really the case. But I think the point I was making was a correct one. I said a madding crowd, which can be inflamed by a fellow with a camera and an account on YouTube. And I said there are plenty of flamethrowers in a population of 7 billion, and I think I'd put Donald Trump in that category. A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons. This is Hillary Clinton. He's taken the Republican Party a long way. But from morning in America to midnight in America, they're already playing on that dystopian dark vision he's put out there. And then on that midnight in America made me think of Everybody's Talking Midnight Cowboy, which is a great song. I think the next 100 days will be an absolute dogfight. I sincerely think Trump has a 50-50 chance of winning. He's a formidable enigma, said Sean King, and I think, yes, it is going to be a dogfight, and I think it is 50-50, notwithstanding what the bookmakers are saying. Hillary Clinton, we heard the man from hope, Bill Clinton, and the man of hope, Barack Obama. 2 weeks of terror, 6 countries, 8 attacks, 247 victims. These are their stories, New York Times. A sign reading in Turkish, Traitor's cemetary is seen, tucked in the back corner of a construction site for a new dog shelter. In eastern Istanbul lies a freshly dug, unmarked grave, the first in the new Traitor's cemetery, created specifically to hold the bodies of coup plotters who died in the July 15th putsch. Authorities would reserve a spot, call it a Traitor's cemetery. Passers-by will curse them, said Istanbul Mayor Kadir Topbaş in remarks carried by the Dogen news agency. May every passerby curse them and let them not rest in their tombs. In Putin's reality show, Trump and Erdogan do the work for him. If Vladimir Putin was scripting ways to weaken NATO, he couldn't do much better than what's happening right now. Putin has the luck of the devils of Mark Galeotti. He can just sit back and watch this richer, more powerful and legitimate values-based bloc tear itself apart. Saying that, basically he's patched up with Erdogan, the danger of Turkey turning the Black Sea into a lake by closing the Bosphorus to Russian naval ships based in Crimea is now gone. And then you've had Trump as well, seems to get on with him famously. And I sort of go back to the point I've been making severally. It's a real pivot to Putin. Wall Street is raving about Facebook's earnings report, and why not? They were very strong, has retained an immense following over 1 billion daily active users. And they've really started to kick in on the mobile side advertising. Let's go on to the currency markets. Euro 111.08, popped above 111. Dollar index 96.42. Japanese yen, let's check where that is right now, 103.51. Swissy 0.7998. The pound 131.72. Aussie, let's see what that's doing now, 0.7507, so above the 75 level. Indian rupee 67.035. South Korean 111.2116. Brazilian real 328.88. Egyptian pound 887.92. And the rand 14.1633 when I looked last. Dollar index, I'll put up the 3-month chart. We're backing and filling, no change decision, but I think we're going to see a move back into the dollar in the not too distant future. Gold, well, came back strongly after the Fed decision, 1334 area, but doesn't feel as if it's going to be able to push back up to the highs we saw earlier this year. Action has been seen in oil. Prices are now falling to the 200-day moving average. US crude oil, $40.95, so below $41, not far off 40. And that's going to put tremendous pressure across the board. I'll put up a one-year chart of oil. And my weekend piece was about sub-Saharan Africa, but in that piece I said, a sustained break below $40, which looks entirely likely, is going to further slow the continent. Kiwi fruit comeback helps offset New Zealand's dairy slump. Kiwi fruit sales going great guns, apparently. The bear who beat Brexit has a new warning for the Mexican peso. I tend to agree with him. Doha from the sky in the morning is a photograph I took a couple of years ago. The Independent has an article by Robert Fisk, "Oh, to be an Emiri Qatar." He's talking about several years ago, prior to ceding his throne to Tamim, Sheikh Hamad explained his views very accurately to me. I was dressed in an old Irish pullover and crumpled trousers, while UK businessmen in city slicker suits were kept deliberately waiting outside the Sheikh's divan. When I asked him why, if he didn't like US policy on Iraq, he didn't throw them out of their airbase in Qatar, the great man replied, because then all my Arab brothers will invade me. A smart cookie, although not one to escape Iskandar's critical eye. I wrote a piece on the 23rd of May 2016, Qatar punching beyond its size. When I visited the Doha Forum, I put up a photograph of the Emir of Qatar and President Ashraf Ghani at that very forum. This tremendous scandal of 1MDB, the Malaysian scandal. Guardian has written a deep dive article, the inside story of the world's biggest financial scandal. We really couldn't make it up. Somehow or other, the Prime Minister Najib Razak seems to be holding his own in the teeth of what looks like a prima facie case of extraordinary looting. Going back to the piece I wrote over the weekend, Thoughts from the Sub-Saharan African Frontline, I talked about how IMF had downgraded Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP from 3% to just 1.6%. And this was the slowest rate of growth since the 1990s, and that this rate of growth was now behind the rate of population expansion, meaning that Sub-Saharan Africa is getting poorer. Africa now has only about 500,000 elephants, down from 1.2 million in the 1970s. On that note, I'll put up a photograph called Convergence of the Tribes by Mary Wilkinson and Cyril Christo, which is of the elephants and Maasai herdsmen coming to the same watering hole. And I'll also put up a photograph of a zebra crossing that I took in the Amboseli. South African all shares up 5.11% this year. Dollar Rand, we're still testing resistance, but we might be about to buckle down. We're unable to break it. Key is now 14.10. We go through that, and we are busting serious resistance. Egyptian EGX 30 up 14.63%. Everyone's getting excited about a possible IMF package. Nigerian all share down 2.08%. Ghana Stock Exchange is down 10.42% this year. Zimbabwe's president, Comrade Bob, is besieged, says The Economist. Writing on the wall from Mugabe, blares one independent newspaper's headline. In the past few weeks, a string of setbacks for the old man has increased the chances that his luck may finally be running out, even before he dies. The most striking development is the sudden rise of a protest movement led by a previously unknown clergyman, Ivan Mamawiri, whose hashtag "This Flag" has caught the nation's attention. It is not only the recent setback from Mugabe as the economy again threatens to collapse, feuding within his own ZANU-PF party has intensified. We are reaching a tipping point. I said on that article over the weekend that some countries like Zimbabwe feel like they're right at the edge that edge that was described by Hunter S. Thompson, the edge. There is no honest way to explain it because the only people who know where it is are the ones who have gone over. Zimbabwe Stock Exchange recorded the grand total of $104 trading on Tuesday. Barclays continues to explore strategic and capital market options to reduce its shareholding in Barclays Africa, the company said. Without giving more detail, this is Barclays Africa reporting results. Credit loss ratio should improve from the first half. Continued focus on revenue growth, cost management should improve the cost-to-income ratio. Expecting low to mid-single-digit loan growth, with corporate investment banking growing faster than retail and business banking. Full-year results were released by East African breweries early this morning, late last night. Profit after tax increased 7.258%. Revenue was down 0.152%, so marginally. The profit before tax down 3.759%. Profit after tax was up 7.258%. Earnings per share up 7.77%. Profit for the year up 7%. Cash generated from operations up 32%. Finance costs down 20%. Talked of the challenging operating environment, especially in South Sudan, where volumes fell by 60%, delivered 25% growth in volumes, buoyed by strong growth in spirits and Senator. Kenya revenue plus 16, notwithstanding a very poor show by Tusker. Uganda up 5%, Tanzania up 12%, 134% growth in the sales of Senator, so really undergirded these results, Senator did, which is a lower margin mass market brand. 27% drop in Tusker, that's a big drop. Senator grew in Kenya following the rollback of the duty increase early in the year, and momentum was sustained throughout the year. Reserve spirits, Shirock and Singleton also performed due to enhanced distribution and activation by brand ambassadors. Charles Island tidied up the balance sheet, reduced leverage, and these results confirm a repositioning of EABL firm into the mass market. WPP Scan Group reported first half earnings per share went up 53.488%. Billings up 9.506%. Revenue up 10.972%. Profit for the period up 34.792%. Earnings per share up 53.488%. Market outside of Kenya now account for 40% of group revenues. Share price is cheap at 15.05. It's terribly oversold. WPP have a majority shareholding. EGAD's also reported full-year earnings. Earnings per share was 1 cent versus 66 cents last time. Main contributor to the reduction in the after-tax profits in the year is due to deferred tax. They're talking about focusing on their world-class pioneer, being a world-class pioneer in the coffee industry. This is more a land play because look, they got 203 hectares of coffee-bearing land, 149 hectares of grasslands, and just on itself, if you looked at it from a land transaction, it's extremely valuable. Kenya feels Brexit exit effect as UK vote threatens African trade deal. The Tanzanians, Ugandans not that keen on signing the deal. Kenya getting caught with the possibility of much higher tariffs. Millions of Kenyan jobs at risk if this deal is not signed. It seems that we're a little bit lackadaisical in our approach to what is becoming a complicated situation. Actually, when I wrote about Brexit, I said this is one of the risks that we're not at the top table. And when we come to negotiate our issues, they're going to fall back. And I think this is an example of exactly that. After a comprehensive appraisal is done, Chase Bank will be turned back to new investors as KCB, so they're getting out of there. Safaricom closed at a fresh record high yesterday. It's now closed at 1890 with all-time closing high. Have a look at the integrated with Bob Collymore after the full year results. President Kenyatta has ordered a review of all independent power producers' contracts. These arrangements that are not cost effective to the Kenyan public must be terminated in a legal way in the shortest time possible, he said. That's going to be interesting. Nairobi Oil shares down 2.58% this year compared to the NSE 20, which is down 14.17%. But I call that a bifurcation of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and that's shown you by those two indices. CBK hires 15 staff to check rogue lenders. We need to get more people who have the skills. We have 15 people coming on board. We're not going to stop there. Sought to win back public confidence by blaming the collapse of Dubai, Imperial and Chase banks on lenient enforcement of regulations rather than lack of identification of the weaknesses. The information about concerns in the three collapsed banks were known to us, but instead of taking quick action, we minimized the problem, what we call forbearance. He also disclosed that 400 million shillings was withdrawn from Chase Bank a week before it was shut down, hinting that the withdrawal was done by an insider. And that's it, and I wish you a tremendous weekend. Thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful.